Ryan with the Southern Maryland office of Real Property Management Gold, locally serving St. Mary's, Charles, and Calvert counties, out of our physical offices in Lexington Park and Waldorf. Today I want to discuss a big issue with rental properties in the state of Maryland. A big word that gets thrown out a lot of times and creates a lot of stress and anxiety on everybody, tenants, owners, management companies, contractors, everybody. And that word is mold. What do you do if a tenant calls in and complains about mold in a rental property? It's very important that you follow steps correctly and take action immediately. Because if you do not, you could lose your tenant, you could end up in a lawsuit, all kinds of different bad things can happen if you do not handle the situation properly. So the first thing you need to do is if a tenant calls in and says there's mold, you do need to take it seriously regardless of what you think the situation is. So the first thing you need to do is you need to ask them some questions. You need to figure out, why do they think there's mold in the property? Is there a leak somewhere? Is there a stain? Is there a smell? Is there condensation? Why do they feel that there's mold in the property? What is their evidence? Take that information down and then send out a pro to go in there regarding what they say and see if they can verify those claims in terms of what is causing the mold issue. You need to figure out the source. All mold is caused by some kind of moisture getting into the home. It could be a roof leak, a foundation leak, your gutters aren't cleaned and it's rolling down the front, an HVAC problem, a plumbing issue, a roof leak. It could be any of those different kinds of things. So you need to figure out what that is and get that fixed by a pro as quickly as possible. There's no point in remediating mold or even figuring out if there's mold in the house until the source of whatever could be causing that moisture is resolved. Once the moisture issue is resolved and you've stopped the moisture from getting in the house, now you need to find out if there's actual mold in the property. What I would do is cosmetically fix any stains and whatnot. The source is fixed. You've cosmetically fixed everything. What you want to do now is assess to see if there's a hazard in the property for the tenants. A lot of times tenants are going to say, oh, there might be mold behind the walls, I'm feeling sick, all these different kinds of things. You need to take this very seriously. And what we recommend you do is you call a home inspection company or a environmental company. You have them come out and do what's called a air mold test, where they're going to come in with a machine and they're going to put it in a cassette and they're going to take a sample of the air from the inside and the outside and compare it and see if there's an elevated level of mold in the property and what kind of mold that is and if it's hazardous to the tenant. At this point, if it comes back and it says that there's no hazardous mold with the tenant, then you're good. You fixed it cosmetically, stopped the leak, and there's nothing hazardous. You have a certificate saying that there's nothing hazardous in the house, and you show it to your tenants. If the tenants try to take you to court or whatever, you bring that out, say you had an expert come in, verify that there was no mold in the property, closed, over, done with. As long as the moisture doesn't return, you're moving on. But if you do this test and it comes up that there is a hazard in the property, then this is a big, big problem for you as a landlord. You need to figure out what to do next. And most of the time what you're going to end up doing is calling in a mold remediation company. Mold remediation is extremely expensive, especially traditional mold remediation. Someone's going to come in, you call ServPro or DuraClean or Mold Man or whatever, and they're going to come out and they're going to quote tens of thousands of dollars because they're going to say that they're going to have to cut out your drywall, remove your carpet, HEPA vac, section things off, and do a full mold remediation. And it's tens of thousands of dollars. And this could really just totally destroy your cash flow. And at this time, that's pretty much showing your tenants that you have a hazard in the property and, they could have been exposed. So if you end up in this kind of situation, it is tough. But the good news is that there is a new solution that can fix this a lot faster and cost effectively. And it's called Demolition-free mold remediation. There is a company here in Maryland now. It's called PuraCleanse. What PuraCleanse will do is they'll come in with a dry fog, and they'll spray a dry fog throughout your house, which will kill all the mold spores, viruses, bacteria, everything in the entire house, in the walls, in the HVAC system, everywhere. And it will kill all of these things within 4 hours with no prep work required. So that means your tenants will just have to be out of the house between 4 and 6 hours. They'll come in, they'll spray this fog, it'll go through the HVAC, go throughout the whole house, completely kill all the mold, and they'll run a mold test, send it to a third-party lab, send it back to you, show that there's no mold in the house, and the issue will be resolved that day, and it'll be about a quarter of the price, if not less than if you were to do a traditional mold removal route of having him have to do demolition and all those other kinds of demolition and rebuild. So insurance companies love this. A lot of times they will cover it because it's only it's only a quarter of the price. Starts around $1 a square foot. Could be more or less depending on things going on with the house. Crawl spaces, basements, things like that do add on to that. But this is definitely, as a property manager, the fastest way to resolve a mold issue and end the tenant complaining, end lawsuit threats, end rent escrow cases. All that stuff is to have the house pure cleansed. 4 hours, it's done, it's over with. Your stress, your anxiety is done. And you have a clean, purified house that's safe for tenants. No doubt about it. So I recommend that if you do end up in the situation, you do go the demolition-free route. And that's it. If you have any other questions about mold, how to handle a mold issue, a tenant issue, if you have a tenant in the house and you're having them complaining about mold, give us a call at our office, 301-392-2172. If you don't want to work with a management company, reach out to PuraCleanse directly. If you want your house cleaned out, www.puracleanse.com. They'll go ahead and get some more information on demolition-free mold removal. This is Ryan with the Southern Maryland Office of Real Property Management. Thank you very much. Have a good day.